Zelda Breath of the Wild on the new Nintendo Switch, also on the Wii U. And this game released with almost universal praise. Universal praise. Instantly, it has been deemed not only a great game, but the greatest game of all time. People look at the Metacritic. People they tell you go to the Metacritic. Look at it. Look at it. It's like in the top 5. It's right up there. Right up there. Or at least it was. It was sitting at like a 98, right? You look at all the reviews. I'm not saying some of those early reviews might have been a little shady, okay? But all those reviews, 9s and 10s. And you look at the user reviews. The user reviews, right? A lot of 10s, a lot of 9s. A lot of dumbass zeros from people just giving it a 0 to be trolling. But there's a lot of reviews there of 7s and 8s. Then they state the big legitimate problems keeping this game from reaching perfection. Okay? And this is not me. This is not, because I've played the game for maybe 5-6 hours. There's people on there that's played it all the way through. Not the critics, right? Not the people that have a job criticizing games, but the people that actually played it. And you can tell from these long descriptive reviews, not just the people trolling, giving it 0s or 1s that don't like Nintendo, people talking about the legitimate concerns they have with the game and what it does wrong. Yes, my friends, this game, this breathtakingly once-in-a-lifetime, greatest of all-time game does have glaring flaws. Some of these I encountered, some of these I didn't. Like I said, I played it for 5 or 6 hours, okay? So I can't give you a definitive review of the game. But in those 5 or 6 hours, I can tell you without a shadow of a damn doubt, it is not the greatest game of all time. It is not a perfect game. It is not the greatest game I've ever played personally, but, opinions are kind of like assholes, everybody has them. But what made me really angry when I went to Metacritic, and I saw all these critical reviews, separate from the user reviews, it seems like almost all of these critical reviews of the game that gave it 10s out of 10s, they didn't talk about certain things. They didn't talk about the vast open world, which is a new thing for Zelda. The vast open world that seems kind of empty, lacks density, right? Okay, light criticism. They barely mentioned the crippling stamina system. Maybe the stamina gets better, maybe you can upgrade it, but I know early on in the game, I've never been more frustrated with a stamina bar. You have a combination of a really wonderful looking, huge world, maybe one of the biggest worlds ever created in a video game, and Link with his stamina system. Link can run about as fast as your grandpa with a brick in each fucking pocket. I'm serious, he's really, really slow. I mean, most of the game you'll be focusing on that little evil stamina orb over your left shoulder. 'Cause that tells you how much fun you can have. That tells you how fast you can go. Completely out of place in a game like this. And what else? What else was a criticism that Jim had, and I also have with the game? Well, games like Dead Rising 3, survival games maybe, that have breaking weapons. It's in a lot of games, right? And we've pretty much come to be okay with this. But the weapon breaking in this game is the worst. By far the worst you have ever seen in any game. If you think it was bad in Dead Rising or something, if you picked up a pickaxe or a sledgehammer or something like that and you were a little bit disappointed that it doesn't last, you can't kill maybe 100 zombies with it or 200 with it, you literally pick up a weapon in Breath of the Wild. And after you hit 1 or 2 enemies, it just dissolves. It just goes away. So you have to stop the combat. The combat which many people that gave this a perfect score, they praise. They praise the combat without even mentioning how jarring it is. How fucking jarring it is to have to keep constantly switching your shitty weapons back and forth. It gets to the point where you're like, what's the whole point? What is the point of picking up a weapon if it breaks like 5 seconds later? Doesn't make any damn sense. Now, the defenders of this say like, well, it just kind of adds difficulty to the game. Like, no, it's stupidity. It adds stupidity to the game. And what about when it rains? Everyone gushes over this new mechanic to where if you're trying to climb something and it rains, guess what? The rain makes it slippery to where you can't climb. Isn't that great, guys? You can't climb because it's raining, huh? Isn't that realistic? Just like something that would happen in real life, but it's in a video game. That shit's not fun. At one time, these reviewers are saying, hey, realism, look at the realism. I don't think if I pick up like a club or an axe or something, I don't think I pick up a weapon and it lasts for 5-10 seconds. Okay, so on the one side, people defending Breath of the Wild, and here again I'll say, just for all of you getting triggered, it's a good game. I recommend buying this game. It is a good game. It's not a fucking perfect game. It's not the best of all time. Here's what I'm doing. Same thing that Jim did. Same reason Jim's getting a lot of fucking hate right now is he's being a critic. Isn't that interesting? A critic. He's being a critic of a game. Okay? He's maybe just saying it's not perfect. It's not a 10 out of 10. Off with his head, right? Off with anybody's head who doesn't think that this game is the best thing since sliced bread. Look away, all of you Nintendo fanboys, look away at all the glaring flaws in this game's design. Okay? Look away. Now, what about the story, right? The story. It's really not anything memorable or breathtaking. If you compare it to other games like Witcher 3, for instance, with all those branching paths, and I'm not going to go into it. I could talk all day, but how amazing Witcher 3's story is. You really don't get that in Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's not bad, but for 30 years, we basically had the same story in Zelda. You know, basically, there's been some deviations, but for 30 years, it's always been Link, you must rescue Princess Zelda from Ganon. You're her only hope. Please, rescue her from the big bad evil Ganon. The fuck? Right? That's not revolutionary. The story's not revolutionary. It's not anything new. It's not a spin on anything. It's the same story, just remixed. Okay? And, you know, you can look by that. You can look by that. No, you really can't, though. You can't, right? Because here's what I'm doing today. If you wonder what I'm doing. If you're a little confused. I'm going to be one of the voices of reason. Okay? One of the voices of reason telling all of you that Zelda is a good game. I played it. I think it's a good game. But it's not the best game of all time, guys. It just isn't. Okay? I know a lot of you out there just got your Switch. You're so excited about it. And you just feel like you just got your hands on the best game of all time. And maybe to you, maybe you feel like it is. But it's okay if it's not. You don't need to give shit to people that have legitimate concerns about the game and show its flaws. I mean, when Activision or Ubisoft or EA comes out with a game that has flaws, people are really quick to tear that shit down. People are really quick to tear that shit down. But for some reason, when it's a Mario game or a Zelda game, those are held in high regard. People can't even criticize that shit. So Jim Sterling. He dared to make a review talking about some of the things that I talked about, because we have a lot of the same feelings about the game. And this is where I'm telling you guys I've come to respect Jim Sterling, because he had the massive set of balls to give this game a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, right? I'm not going to tell you what I would give it, because really, it doesn't matter. That's the other point I'll get to. What I think about a game doesn't matter. You know what? If you pick up a game and you play a game and you love the game to death, that's what matters, okay? You play the fuck out of that game and you enjoy it, you appreciate it. That's all you got to do. Jim Sterling gave his honest opinion on this game. And you know what happened to Jim Sterling? His website got DDoSed. I tried to go and read his review, but I can't right now. His website is offline. You know why? His fucking man-children couldn't handle someone giving their honest opinion on a video game. Because it wasn't kids. It wasn't little kids that DDoSed him. Think about this. All these man-children, all these fragile little motherfuckers living in their safe space are mad at Jim. And this is the beautiful part. You know why they're mad at Jim Sterling? This is hilarious. Because his review single-handedly, it brought Zelda's Metacritic down from 98 to 97. A huge fall for the greatest game of all time. 98 to 97. People losing their shit. People otherwise totally engrossed in this game stopped playing that game, and they went and they gave Jim all kind of shit. And some of them DDoSed his site. Think about that. One person reviews a game, and people can't handle it that bought the game and love the game. It means you love the game so much. Jim hurt the game's feelings, I guess. You are so fucked up in the head if this is what your life amounts to. If all your life is defending fucking Nintendo products and defending video games, you're so hurt. You thought you owned the best game of all time, but big old mean Jim Sterling, he smacked your asses down and gave this game its 7 out of 10. Wow. And he wasn't the only one. Slant gave it a 6 out of 10, which I think is a little bit too extreme, but they mention a lot of the same criticisms. What I want to talk about is this most recent video they uploaded called Why Zelda is the Most Influential Game, Retail Reviews. And this is a over half-hour upload where they're talking about and trying to plead the case for Zelda being the most influential game, of all time. This one has got a lot of downvotes. That's the first thing I noticed. And it's not common for some of these Cinemassacre uploads to have a lot of downvotes. It's got 5,000 upvotes, almost 1,000 downvotes. So that means a lot of people do not agree that Zelda is the most influential game. I see a lot of people commenting, the most influential game of all time, they say is on the same console. Mario. What would the video game industry be without a Super Mario Brothers? Alright, it would be completely different. People make the argument for Zelda being influential as a role-playing game, but most people, when they think about role-playing games and influential role-playing games, they point to the PC. Especially, late 80s, early 90s. The PC being very influential when it comes to, a lot of game series, but specifically when you think role-playing games, you look at PC, all right? When you think platformers, you think about Nintendo, you think about Mario. Just people. How many people think video games and think Zelda? I'm just not talking about, fanboys of Nintendo, but I'm talking about just regular, everyday, average people. You ask somebody, who Link and Zelda is, and they'll scratch their head. But you ask them who Mario is and Luigi, and you're like, oh, okay, the plumbers. The video game plumbers, right? So it's just silly they're trying to make this complete argument, and it just seems like they're kind of fanboying out over Zelda, which I'm not saying Zelda is not an amazing series. I'm not saying that there are some Zelda games that are definitely a lot better than Mario games. But we're talking influential here. And the first 2 minutes of this guy, one of the guys, he lost a lot of weight, so I can't really call him the fat guy anymore, because, to his credit, whoever this guy is, he lost a good bit of weight. The guy in the Vans shirt. For the first 2 minutes,
Maybe this guy needs a script. He was fucking cringe. Just fucking cringe. I mean, we talk about how Radical Reggie just seems to, have his pauses and everything. But this guy, man, I just don't know. And this thing is 36 minutes long. You're not telling me they just couldn't cut this down to maybe, 20, 25 minutes? Now this opens up a bigger discussion. Not just on what is the most influential game of all time, but what is the most influential game in a certain genre. Say, for instance, fighting. I think few people would disagree that Street Fighter is the most influential fighting series. Okay, before Street Fighter 2 Turbo, a lot of people weren't into fighting games. And that kind of paved the way for a lot of fighting games in the future. Mortal Kombat you can kind of loop in there also. When it comes to racing games, Rad Racer on the NES, or maybe Gran Turismo on the PlayStation. The way I look at it is, what game really made something or a genre incredibly popular? In the way Super Mario Brothers made everybody really want to play more platformers, and they wanted games more like that series. One instance, let's say, horror, survival horror. I would say the most influential survival horror game would be the first Resident Evil on the PlayStation. What about sports? The Madden football series. Most influential sports games. Role-playing games. Okay, Zelda, the Zelda series. I don't think Zelda is the most influential even role-playing series of all time. Okay, I can point to some series that started on PC that are a lot more influential when it comes to role-playing games. I think a lot of people don't really point to game consoles when they think about role-playing games, all right? You look at the role-playing communities, you look at the Elder Scrolls communities online, the PC's pretty much the king when it comes to role-playing games. I'll finish off with a big one. First-person shooters. It's a 4-letter word, say it with me now. Doom. Easily, that's an easy one right there. Is there anyone that disagrees that Doom is the most influential first-person shooter of all time? I don't think so. I would look at maybe Half-Life as being very influential, the first Halo being very influential, early Call of Duties, the multiplayer, Modern Warfare. So there you go, some quick thoughts on influential game series by genre, and why I don't personally think Zelda is the most influential game series of all time. Now, if you disagree with me, leave it in the comment section down below. Explain to me maybe why you think Zelda is the most influential game series of all time. Or if you want to have some fun, leave me a comment by genre telling me what you think the most influential game series by genre is. Also, who do you think the most influential e-beggar is? Hell, that one might be easier than Doom for first-person shooters. Dark Side Phil.
Brace yourselves. I got some exciting gaming news today. Guess what? Nintendo is releasing a new handheld gaming system, and it's coming out later this year. No, it's not the Switch Pro. It is the Zelda Game & Watch system. I'll link to it down below. Game & Watch The Legend of Zelda. It's coming November the 12th. Man, oh man, I know a lot of you are coming in your pants thinking about this, right? A new Zelda system, right? Guess what you get? For only $9.99, which is a great value, Nintendo. Okay, I'll agree that's a great value. You get a Game & Watch system that has 4 games. Well, 3 games and then some kind of crappy, I don't know, whatever the hell it is, Vermilion, something like that, I don't know. Looks really stupid. Let's say 3 games. You got 3 Zelda games. The original Legend of Zelda from the NES, Zelda 2, Link's Awakening, and the Zelda original first Game Boy game. So you got 3 Zelda games for $9.99 on a handheld system. I think Nintendo really nailed it with the value here, and it's also going to be a collectible. Wait a second. Oh, I gotta update this. It's apparently it's going to be $19.99. I'm sorry, maybe I read it wrong. Wait, no. $29.99. Yeah, $29.99. Just still, that's kind of pushing it. Just for 3 old Zelda ROMs. 3 ancient Zelda ROMs, Nintendo. Come on now. Come on, It's actually $49. Now, people ask me why I think Nintendo is probably the worst gaming company of all of them, and it's overcharging for garbage like this. $49.99 for 3 old Zelda ROMs on a little system. That's outside of the collectible factor. This thing is garbage, absolute garbage. You know, I mean, what's saddest here? What's the saddest here? Is I actually see some people in this comment thread that used to come to this channel years ago. And maybe they don't come here anymore because, well, they're afraid that I'll actually take it to them or call them stupid. I wonder if the scalpers have learnt their lesson from hoarding all the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watches and won't rush out to buy all the Legend of Zelda Game & Watches as the Super Mario Bros. Ones are still available. I'm simply going to buy mine from Argos. Well, is the idea you're going to get this and then you're going to scalp it? Or it's going to be some rare collector's item and shit? You know? Nintendo, they know why they do this. They overprice their garbage, their crap, their old ROMs, which is what they are. They're old, ancient-ass ROMs, and they put them in little collections like this. Hell, you know, Nintendo wouldn't even have to release any new games. They don't have to release a new Switch Pro. They don't have to do anything other than just release all their old garbage and charge you top dollar for their old garbage. Okay, does that trigger a lot of people? The original Legend of Zelda, and specifically Zelda 2 Link's Awakening, by today's standards, are trash. They are garbage games. People living off nostalgia. It's trash. It's garbage. Move the fuck on. Play some new games. Get some new experiences. Okay, a lot of these old games, they're just not worth your time and money. Okay, not especially $50. I'm sorry if this angers a lot of people, but that's just the truth. Okay? What do I need to, like, be more positive about, you know, Nintendo overcharging for old garbage games? Now, back in the day, sure, I'm sure they were great and fantastic and groundbreaking. But by 2021 standards, I think it's probably just time, it's time, to move on. Take that $50 and maybe invest it in something new. And Radical Rick, you know what I do here a lot of the times is to do my best to correct stupidity whenever I see it. Now, people don't like being called stupid. They don't like being referred to as idiots. I get it. I understand that, right? But I'll put this out there. I'm not a god. There have been times in my life where I've been stupid, and I have even been an idiot. I know, hard to believe, but I am a human being, right? And I'm at the point where I am right now in life because I've made a lot of proper, great decisions. Financially also. All right, just putting that out there. And through this channel, one thing I like to do is help other people save money. That's why I talk about e-beggars a lot, because I want to help people save their money. Do you think I like the stupidity that happens on YouTube specifically, with people wasting their money away, giving it to people like Camelot331 for him to fix his NASCAR? I can save some of those people. I can save some of the dollars. I can save some of the stupidity. Not all the time, though, but I can help. Now, where do you think this comes from, guys? There was a period in my life where I was a bit of a hoarder. I was spending a lot of money on things. I was making stupid financial decisions. So there's a history, there's an origin for a lot of what I do here. Now, I've never given money to e-beggars, but I'm just saying there's been times where I've been stupid and I want to help other people not be as stupid, right? And I'm also fair and objective, so there might be names here, there might be people I bring up in a handful of comments here that might get mad, but don't get mad if I'm trying to help, you know, because I'm trying to help. That's why I had this whole couple minutes where I talked about how I've been stupid before at times. So I want to help. Rusty Shackelford, I guess I'm stupid for spending and pre-ordering $50 that came from my paycheck that I earned from my full-time job on this. I guess I could have spent that on a new game like DC Superhero Girls Teen Power? Well, this is a better investment than DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, if that's actually a game. Okay? But $50. The whole point I was trying to make, Rusty, is $50 is a lot of money to spend on basically a collection of some ancient Zelda ROMs in like a small micro case. Do you think there was a lot of love that went into that item? No. Nintendo basically mass produces these items for people that at times are stupid. Like I've been stupid before in the past, Rusty, to spend their hard-earned money on that. Now it's nice that you're working a full-time job and spending your $50 on that. You're not e-begging that, so that's fantastic. That's great. But again, I'm like trying to help. $50? Really? $50 for this? Gnark 1LL420. Oh, wait. That's one I'm going to save to the end. Or should I? I don't know. I just kind of clipped these. And not all these people are buying this. This is a little combination. And there's only 6 comments, right? Gnark LL420. Nothing like retro community getting excited for this, all while they have multiple ways to play the games and just want to put it on their shelf. Is that what it is? $50 just to have it and to neatly put it on your shelf? Like, I really want to know for people buying this, are you getting a lot of use out of it? Are you actually going to be getting a lot of use out of it? I know it's a clock, it's a watch, but even then, it's like a $50 item you're just going to like put beside your desktop. When I'm looking at my desktop here, it has a watch on that. Literally, like, there you can go to a Family Dollar and get like a Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, dollar stores. You can go there and just get like something for $1 or $2 you can put up just to display the time. So I don't really get that. Classic nut. Classic nut. Is that how a lot of us feel once we've seen that one special video on the internet? You know, for Review Tech USA, it would involve horses. Oh, classic. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. I love Nintendo, and I will throw money at things like this. You love Nintendo, and you'll throw money at them just because you love them. So the money comes from love. Well, good thing is Nintendo knows this, and there's they know people just like you, classic nut, that'll just throw money at them for this. Hell, maybe I should be thanking Nintendo for not charging $100 for it. All the people that are lining up, it's sold out for $50. How many people would spend $100 on it? $200? Anybody? I know there's some idiots that would spend $200 on it. No? Dave E. Garza, educate yourself on the history of the game and watch at least. Jesus. It's okay if you don't like it, but still at least throw the context of whatever you're making a video on out there. There's a history to that shitty game you omitted. Is that what it is? Is that what triggers so many people? The fact that I called The Legend of Zelda 2 and then the other one shitty games? I said by today's standards, they're shitty games. And I think I referenced like an old vehicle, maybe from the 80s, and how it would be silly to have people to be charging people current money, meaning $50, $60 for a current actual video game versus these old ancient 8 16-bit ROMs. You might say it's a collection of like basically 3 games and whatever the hell that 4th one is, a collection of 3 old games, old ROMs by today's standards, on a very, very tiny, tinny screen, barely playable. And that's what I'm looking at here. You know? Educate yourself. Educate myself on the history of the Zelda games? Yes, they were great games by old standards. Old standards, they were great games. But we have moved on from that. Look at role-playing games now compared to Zelda. Right? Dumez, it's garbage. They don't even set the aspect ratio of Link's Awakening properly. It is stretched out, filling the whole screen. And it's only the OG green Game Boy version, and they did not even toss in the new updated color Game Boy version. They shat this out with zero effort, knowing idiots would all buy the units they made. Great point by Dumez. To, yes, the idiots buying this for $50. They didn't put a lot of care into this. Nintendo didn't obviously put a lot of care and thought into this. the OG green Game Boy version, like they couldn't do the color version? Like how much more would it have costed Nintendo to do the color version? Or at least adjust the aspect ratio? They did not care, plain and simple. They didn't care. So if they don't care, why should all of you care to spend $50 on this? You know? $20, $25 tops is what this thing should have costed. Okay? Anything more than that is just stupid. Right? And finishing off here, Andrea Ovidiu. Fuck you, off you, don't like it, don't buy it. Well, Andrea, fuck you if you don't know how to actually just properly leave a comment, okay? If. It's fuck you if you don't like it, don't buy it. Right? So, to anyone critical of anything, just fuck you if you don't like it. Fuck you if you don't like it. I'm gonna buy it. Fuck you if you don't like it. I want to hear your opinion. Well, if you don't want to hear my opinion, then fuck right off. You don't have to listen to me. No one's forcing you to come here and listen to me, but I guess, Andrea, you like listening to me. I mean, that's how a lot of people are, right? I hear this a lot, and I know it's not exactly the same thing, because, I mean, giving money to a YouTube e-beggar, well, that's just the stupidest thing you could do. At least this is an item, this is a product, right? But I hear that a lot. Like, hey, you don't like the completionist? You know, you don't like Alpha Megasin having a Patreon? Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you, Rick! You know? That's just projecting right there. It just means you're triggered at me for actually just speaking the truth. And I'm not saying that this is not like an item that I think has some value, but it's not $50. Again, it is not $50. And then I might hear the argument, well, Rick, this thing's going to be worth more money. I'm going to buy it, then I'm going to flip it. Okay, then you're just passing along the stupidity to someone else, right? How many people are going to buy this and actually regret buying it and go, you know what? Well, I'm gonna sell it for $100. You know, I'm gonna pass along the stupidity to someone else. That's how these stupid little Nintendo items get so valuable, because people pass along the stupidity. There you go. I want to talk about this poll for a couple minutes. Now, this was a poll conducted by TVSI in Japan, and 50,000 people were involved in this poll, and they chose the best game of all time. We're talking all time. And number one goes to Zelda Breath of the Wild. Zelda Breath of the Wild? Most Zelda fans would probably say, okay, that's not even the best Zelda game. But okay, we don't know a lot of things about this poll. I read this. I don't know, the ages of the people in the poll. I don't know the genders. Well, I mean, gender's confusing nowadays. You really don't know what gender's, there's no such thing as gender. No such thing. So we don't know a lot of things about the poll. No, maybe some of you do, but I don't know. I'm just reading this. I want to get my thoughts on this, though, this top 10 list. That's number one, Breath of the Wild. Rounding up the top 10, we got 10, Super Mario Bros. 3. I think any top 10 list needs to have Super Mario Bros. 3 on it. Okay? That is a legendary NES game. Probably by far the best NES game. And it holds up. It is still fun. And that created the groundwork, the framework for, I think, a lot of Mario games, past that. Spoken from a guy that's not even played half of the Mario games. But I love Super Mario Bros. 3. Final Fantasy X. I've never played Final Fantasy X. I know a lot of people love that one. Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I love Chrono Trigger from what I've played of it. Transparency. I'll be honest here. I'm not going to lie and say I played all these games to completion on this list. So I'll be 100% honest. But from what I played of Chrono Trigger, I love Chrono Trigger. The graphics alone, just stunning for SNES. 7, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Okay, I see how that gets a lot of love, but a fighting game being one of the top 10 games of all time? I don't know about that. Not taking anything away from it, but really? A Super Smash Bros.? And also, some people might say that's not even the best Smash Bros. Game. 6, Dragon Quest III. The Dragon Quest games are really big in Japan. Have I played any of the Dragon Quest games? I'm not sure. 5. This is where it gets just hilarious. Splatoon 2! Oh, you mean the game, the online game that doesn't even have voice chat, right? Splatoon 2, 1 and 2. Oh, my. Maybe. Maybe it deserves to be number 5. I've never played it, so leave it in the comment section down below if Splatoon 2 deserves to be number 5. 4. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Okay. Animal Crossing New Horizons? The 4th greatest game of all time? Excuse me. Wow. Excuse me. There's something going on here. Something's wrong. I don't know what these polling people, I mean, maybe they haven't played that many games. I'm not sure. 3, Final Fantasy VII. Okay, just like Super Mario Brothers 3, I think Final Fantasy VII, that deserves to be, that's top 10 level, baby. Top 10. 2, Dragon Quest V. Again, like I said, Dragon Quest really big in Japan. Okay, so my thoughts on it, just from my perspective is, and I mean, if I'm going to go into a top 10 list, I mean, some of you might laugh if I'm talking about, some of my top 10 games of all time. And not even like personally what I like, but I think generally like there's certain games that are always on the top 10 list. And some of those games, Super Mario Brothers 3, Final Fantasy 7 and whatnot, some people might think, some of those games are a bit overrated. I would look at most influential games. I think Doom, the original Doom, deserves a spot on any top 10 list. Some of you might not agree, but I think just from a first-person perspective, I mean, Doom. Some people might say the first Halo. I don't know if that's a top 10 game of all time. Maybe top 20, top 25, possibly. One of the Halos, probably. Definitely one of the Halos. And most people like the first Halo. When it comes to, Sony, well, Sony's got a lot of great games. Some of the Crash Bandicoot games are really good, but I don't know about, top 10 game worthy. For some reason, I'm just kind of, drawing a blank. I mean, top 20, maybe, yeah, some of the Metal Gear games. Metal Gear Solid, yeah, top 20, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, So this is going to be a long time if I'm going into like just talking about a lot of games that should be in the top 20, top 10 of all time. But I mean, come on again, Splatoon 2. This is just a hilarious poll, and this really carries no weight. Zelda Breath of the Wild. I mean, I've not played it. So this is your opportunity to leave it in the comment section down below. If you think Zelda Breath of the Wild deserves to be number 1 on any list, and, honestly, what would you probably rank Breath of the Wild on a top 100 list? Would it be one of the top 100 games?